Hey, Rachel, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Hi.
All right, I'll have my camera up in just a moment. Listen, I want to tell you thank you so much for the support that you provided in the last meeting. Thank you so that was awesome. I looked up and saw that you were like in the Zoom and then you were on the Facebook too. I'm like, oh wow, this is wonderful. This is what I'm talking about, having that support. Now I've got someone that does that for me. Cicely is normally there, but she takes the course and she has, we have a different arrangement. So she's not able to do that as often. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. Hmm.
So you have no idea how much that I looked up, I was like, wait, that's Rachel in there. So you know what was a blessing, and I had to keep it moving because I almost got bogged down looking in there. So those were my relatives. Those are my relatives from years ago when I lived in Columbus. One of them, they own like I don't know how much real estate, like a world full of real estate. And yeah, like most of the stuff in Columbus, they own it, and his son's a banker. I mean, his nephew is a banker there.
Wow.
And then the other one is an engineer. He's just always done so well. He's good with numbers. So when I saw them on there, along with some of my other people from Warner Robins, one of them was a part of the Middle Georgia Youth Ministry Incorporated that we formed there.
Uh-huh.
And then they knew of some of the employees that worked for me at the time, and they were all on there, and I was just like blown away.
I love that.
Yeah, I was blown away.
What?
So thank you so much for what you did to participate. So now we're going to jump right into this unless you have some questions from last week.
Um, I did start the homework that you gave me,
Oh,
the
good.
on the page 100 from the last page. So I've done that. So I have the documents for like the bylaws kind of drafted up, and the incorporation that I would need to send over when I fill out for my C corporation. I also have a name for the business as
Oh,
well. So
yes.
I done all that work from last week. So I have
Okay.
questions, but I did do the work.
You did do the work. Let me ask you. So, what I normally have people to do is share that document with me. Do you have a way to share it with me so that I
Yeah.
can review specifically the bylaws?
The bylaws, okay. Because
Yeah.
I haven't even finished it. I just kind of drafted it up. So I
Oh,
haven't
okay.
inserted
Okay.
everything. But I can insert everything once we're done here today. And
Okay. Because I was thinking we could walk. What I normally do is I walk through it with them. So I'll go in every once in a while and review it to see, and then I'll put a note on the side if it's something that
okay.
I think would benefit them in terms, because you're forming it based on, especially your bylaws, because you have to have an
Right.
official meeting to change those. So you're forming it so that when people look at it, depending on what it is that you want to do, you won't
Yes.
they won't have an objection in their thoughts
Okay. Okay.
what
Makes
you've put in your bylaws. So I
oh,
like to glance at it as you're forming it, just to say, well, if you do this, if you intend to do this in the future, this is what you're gonna run into, this roadblock, that
okay.
kind of thing. Because
Okay.
once you get it completed and you file them, then you gotta have an official meeting to change it. And then some
Okay.
people, once they see it in there, it's just in there.
Okay. So that's what I do. I'll finish it, but I have the basic draft for it. Once I finish that up, I'll send it over to you and have you review it and let me know.
Okay, all right, that's ideal. All right, let's get this show on the road.
And what are we on part chapter 2?
Well, I'm gonna show you something first.
Okay.
I'm gonna show you. So last week we had someone on in the Zoom with us, and she asked about, specifically, she wanted to know how to go about getting venture capital. So I explained to her, that we teach that in the course. So I just want to show you what it looks like
Okay.
when we help you with the venture capital. So, and also I want to say this to you, you probably already know this, but with clients that you're working with or proposed clients that you're working with, or even for yourself, if you've got medical bills that have held you up from qualifying in the past,
Mm-hmm.
come March the 17th, there's new legislature that has come out through the Credit and Finance Bureau that now states that medical bills have to be removed from your credit report altogether.
Oh,
They've
that's
got
good.
to come off of your credit report altogether. Now, here's the key to that. You're going to be responsible for seeing whether or not it's being done. So, next week's program, I'm going to introduce a link that will show people how to and I wish I had did it this week. A link to show people how to monitor their credit report to see if medical bills are still on there because it's supposed to come completely off.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's
supposed to
good.
come completely off. You
That's
know what? I think what I'm probably going to do is I'm probably going to, as soon as you all finish, you and I finish, I'm going to go do a real quick post video to make sure people understand that's coming off of there. And
okay.
so you need to just start monitoring. But I've got a monitoring company that I have worked for several years. And I'm going to put that link in there so you can use it. I think they
Okay.
do like 7 days free trial. So you can check during those 7 days to make sure that your medical bills were removed. Because
Mm-hmm.
see, they'll try some tricks. They'll remove them, and then they'll put them back on.
Come back on. Okay.
Mm-hmm. What you want to do is make sure that they stay off, and that's why you want that credit monitoring system.
Okay. Thank
All
you.
right. So you see here, you see these venture capital companies. They
Mm-hmm.
help to provide money, startup money for real estate investor entrepreneurs. So what happens is in the actual course, we provide you with the contact information. We provide this just has the coverage area. We provide you with the contact information, what their qualifications are for each company. And then the list is expanded. There are more companies in this. I
Okay.
was going to show it to the other young lady that had joined us last week, but since she's not here this week, because she actually wanted to sign up for this group course,
Mm-hmm.
but since she's not here, I still want to go ahead and show it to you. These are the companies that will help you with, and so company. If you're going to apply as an individual, they're going to work on certain things as far as debt to income ratios and pitfalls you can run into is maybe the appraisal not coming back at what you needed to come
Right.
back. Sort of regroup on that. If you submit documentation to them and it's not all of the documentation they ask for, it can slow down the process. Now you're piecemealing it.
Mm-hmm.
They may require that you explain if you got like large uh, deposits in your bank account, but I doubt it because they're accustomed to dealing with businesses.
Yes.
And so businesses will have large lump sums deposited into the account.
Right.
Um, if they're dealing with you as an individual, they're going to want your proof of government issued I and W-2 or tax return information. If you're self-employed, bank statements for the company account, credit information, those are things that they would need. But now, what I like about companies like Wildcat Lending, we did a deal with them recently. We closed it, and they financed one of our clients. And so they didn't require, as far as income, to verify income, they didn't require tax returns. They didn't require employment verification. All they wanted was the investment strategy. Well, we helped them build the investment strategy so that they had a projected or proposed revenue that, that was going to be coming in for the proposed property that they were interested in purchasing.
Mm-hmm.
So all we had to do was present the investment strategy. They also call it an exit strategy. So if you're ever dealing with hard money lenders does not
Mm-hmm.
mean that they're predatory or that they have high interest rates. It means that they're going to need to be paid off within 12 to 24 months, which is a much shorter term than what you look for in a standard.
Okay.
Wait, I just taught this to you. Did I just present this in the other class?
Not no. This or I was in the class. You didn't. Did you present this?
Okay, good. I wanted to make sure that I didn't present this because I tried not to show this to okay, good. All right, great. So anyway, their approval process is pretty quick, it's streamlined. They don't ask for a lot of documentation. It's all based on the house. Let's say you buy a house that needs very limited, maybe the people were in a distress, financial distress, and they had to sell it. Okay. So they're looking to sell it because it's a what we call a short sale. So a short sale is when the people, have gotten behind on their mortgage. The
Yes.
mortgage company still owns it, but they're going
Right.
to sell it to you
Mm-hmm.
on a short sale,
Right.
meaning that you can buy it without going through all of the rigorous stuff that it normally requires.
Right.
Okay. These type of lenders are perfect for short sale. So
Okay.
the house is not beat up because it hasn't been empty for a long period of time. The
Right.
owner may still be in the house because it hasn't
Correct.
foreclosed on yet, or they've
Right.
been foreclosed on, but they still occupy
But
the
they
property.
still. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that means that house is not going to need a whole lot of repairs. It's going to need some repairs, but not a lot.
Right.
So then you can present to that investor, I mean to that venture capitalist, okay, we want to purchase this property, its value is this amount. Um, the um, the amount that they want to sell it to us for is normally going to be less if you're buying it on a short sale because they only want the balance of the loan. The property might be worth $300,000, but they
Right.
only owe $150,000.
Right.
See what I
Mm.
mean?
Yeah.
So that's a venture capitalist dream.
Nice.
Yes, yes. I can show you how to buy them.
I like that.
Okay, so what happens is once they see firstly that you're going in with equity. Okay, then their other thing is okay, how are you going to pay us off in 12 to 24 months? What's your exit strategy? What's your investment strategy? So you can say, well, I'm going to turn it into an Airbnb. I'm just giving you a
Right.
suggestion.
Right.
Okay, so Airbnb, and they've got Airbnb now where the people tenants share the place.
Oh,
So yeah, yeah. My son Gregory does this all the time. And they actually share it with other people who so it's two separate people that could be staying there, you
nice.
know, and they have access to the common areas like the
Mm-hmm.
kitchen, living room, what have you. And but then it's the bedrooms that they want, and some of the houses have bedrooms with baths in them, which is like excellent. That's like a
Yes.
sweet deal.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So he had one where it had a bathroom that went with the major bedroom in the hallway, and then it had a bathroom in the master bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
So he when he rented that one out, he would always have two tenants in it at a time. Two
Nice.
Airbnb tenants. Yeah, people they do that now.
That's good because some
Yeah,
people don't like sharing spaces, so that's
yeah,
pretty
they share space, and then so when you're talking about twice the amount of money that's coming in, it's all Airbnb is already more lucrative than a regular rental property
right. Mm-hmm.
because you're having that high turnover of revenue coming in
Right.
consistently. Yeah.
Right.
So depending on where you buy the property, it can be
Exactly.
if it's a college town, if it's something like that, you can make really good money. Matter of fact, if it's a
Right.
college town, you may just want to turn it into an annex of the
Yeah, for
yeah
people,
of the dorms. You can
yeah,
do that too.
mm-hmm.
So then you can have the go through admissions and have them to add your house to a list of the properties that's available for students to rent.
Nice.
So yeah, but all of those, and so then what you do is you show you the investor the projected revenue
Mm-hmm.
that you'll make over a certain amount of time, or you may intend to just refinance that property, which would be a bomb because you're going in with excellent equity. That
Right.
pays them off. That's really all they're interested in. How do you get us out of
Okay. That's
this? Okay.
good. That's
They'll
good.
also have you design what's called an assignment of rents and lease. That means that during the term that they're allowing you to use the money, if you lease that property or rent it to anyone, you are assigning that rent and lease to them. It goes directly to them
Mm-hmm.
during the time that you're using the money. Well, that works to defray the balance that you owe them so that when it comes time to pay them off,
There's less amount there.
uh-oh,
That's old.
I don't know if you can hear me. I can't hear you. You hear
I
me?
can hear you.
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me now? I can't hear you now. I can't hear you.
What about now?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. As long as you can still hear me.
I can hear you.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So, hmm, walking through the whole process. Oh, okay, yeah. So so the assignment of rents and lease. So if you lease it or rent it to somebody while you still are using their money, then that will be payable to them, to the
Mhm.
lender, to the venture
Mhm.
capitalist, and then of course that will go to pay a portion of the cost that you owe them. So that when you close, when you pay them off, then they'll deduct a portion of the. That's not to say that all of the rental or lease payments will be deducted from the balance because there's interest involved as well. So
Okay.
that just gives you a general idea. And then in the course, we also have the phone numbers where you can reach out to them. We have a way to show you how to set up a partnership letter with them to introduce them to your company, to,
Wow.
let them know how your company is viable. We take you through all of that. We walk you through the steps. If you can't afford a customer relations management system so that you can keep up with all your properties and we show you how to Jimmy rig one. We got to set up a spreadsheet and make it a CRM
Pretty
for customer relationship management.
nice.
So your
Nice.
follow-up system, all of the everything that you're going to need to monitor your relationship with them, but also monitor your properties. And then we set up a template to help you follow up with those type of companies so that you can keep in contact with them. You never know what you're going to need. We introduce you
Nice.
to a loan officer at that particular company and walk you all the way through the process. We can't talk to the underwriter, but we can get you all of the rest so that then you have a relationship with them long after you're out of the course. You get your feet wet, you understand the process, and then you can start finding your own venture capitalists. And these are just some that we've dealt with.
Nice.
That's a part of the and so this easy corporate comprehensive curriculum for new business owners is a 3-part series.
Mm-hmm.
So this first one is what we're going through now. The next book is franchising. That's what Wilma did. She bought a partial franchise from a limited franchise from us years ago. And so when she came on to the program, I don't know if you were here with us on that particular.
Not that
Okay, well,
day.
she talked about how we helped her start her company, all of the different components, and how she filed her documentation in 2007. And of course, she's still in that business and has added to it. What we taught her helped her so that when it was time, when she wanted to expand into real estate for Georgia and Alabama, she could because of the information that we taught her about
Great.
title abstractors. She actually bought a limited franchise from us. Limited franchise means she paid all of her franchise fees down to the very last dime. She paid it all. She she
Mm-hmm.
she went all the way through. I say that because there are a lot of people who started with us didn't finish their contract. She
Yeah.
finished hers. She learned so much, and then she could use it to help her advance in Alabama and Georgia. And her company covers Alabama, Georgia, Tennessee, Mississippi, Florida. She covers all of that.
Nice.
And
Nice.
she has a real estate license in Alabama and Georgia. So she came on to talk to us on I have to find that particular show and maybe send you a link. But it's on my YouTube of how we benefited her. So the next book is going to talk about franchise. Want to franchise your company, or if you want to buy a franchise, and we'll have our company in there for people who want to purchase a limited franchise. Limited meaning we'll show you the business, we'll give you clients and support you over the years, but you use your own company name and all the financial liability is on you. Meaning that because if you buy the full franchise, you're using our company name
Correct.
means that we are now liable for, you
Oh,
know,
yeah.
yeah. And there's no problem for us. She just chose about buy a limited liability, limited franchise.
Franchise.
But we've had some company to buy a full franchise. So that's the next book. And then the book after that is venture capital.
Okay.
In that book will have listings of various different type of capitals, the whole thing to show you how to go through the whole process. Uh, that's the last book in this. Okay. Aren't you on? Where did we stop with you? Are
I
we on
think,
chapter two?
I think we're on chapter two.
Understanding the difference between
We did,
LLC and forming a C corporation?
yeah, because we did the C corporation in chapter one,
Okay.
and we did we went over the S corporation.
Partnership. Make sure that that's exactly where we're supposed to be. Um, did we go over the models yet?
Nope,
No, you
we haven't made it to that yet.
okay. You would definitely remember that.
Yeah, we didn't go over that yet.
All right. Okay, so when we're comparing an LLC to a C corporation, because the LLC is a corporation, the difference is
Mhm.
that when you get ready to do your taxes, LLC is going to pass through your personal taxes. There
Right.
is limited liability, which means that your personal assets are separated from the corporation. It is a separate legal entity.
Right.
With a corporation, you have shareholders, and it's structured with a hierarchy system that we talked about. You know, you've got your
Mhm.
directors, they elect or appoint CEOs and officers and directors to operate the company, and then those individuals hire management, and then management hires employees. With an LLC, it's like a hybrid business, and it combines partnership with the corporation, so it has a little flexibility, but again, the liability is not, it doesn't pass through the individual to the corporation. There are two separate entities until it comes to filing the tax.
Mhm.
When you're filing an LLC, you need articles of organization. Also, with the LLC, they don't require that you file annual reportings to the state. You don't have to file annual reporting. That's another way that it's flexible. Um, all you need is articles of organization. Now, when you're filing a corporation, it's more complex because you're literally creating a totally separate entity. This is another being, you
Right.
know. And so that's why the documentation, the bylaws, you wouldn't have bylaws in the LLC. You would have operating agreements, but you wouldn't have bylaws. Operating agreements are much more simple than bylaws, because bylaws want to cover everything that you may decide to do in the company in the future. So they're going to be a little bit more extensive, but it's so that no matter what you decide to do with the company, when people look at your bylaws, it's very detailed
Right.
instead
Okay.
of streamlined like an LLC. And so in an LLC,
Let's see.
most of the time the members are just the owners, and then they'll designate management um, to to operate the company, manage the power of the company.
So I have a question about the corporation.
Yes.
It says governed by a board of directors and operated by corporate officers, more former management hierarchy. Who would pick up the directors? Like, do I just pick them? Like, how did we get the directors for the corporation?
I'm glad you asked. In your articles of incorporation, it's going to ask you for the officers. It's going to
Right.
ask you um, who your officers are. So of course, you would be one of the board of directors, typically the chairman, of course, the chairman doesn't have a vote, so that's not always a very promising feat. The chairman conducts everything, is the tiebreaker for everything, not necessarily votes, but the chairman has all of the say, except for the chairman has no vote.
Okay.
But you would be the chairman, and then you can appoint a secretary treasurer, because that whoever holds that position can be a hyphenated position, so they can hold dual positions, secretary
Okay.
treasurer. You can also appoint a VP or a president, so you can be a chairman, president, vice president, secretary treasurer, or a separate secretary and treasurer. So the secretary is always responsible for keeping the minutes, being responsible for the minutes any changes or updates to the bylaws, and for the reporting, the annual reporting of the corporate um, entity to the state in which you're incorporated.
Right. So that makes sense. I get it. Like, what if you don't know who you gonna pick? Like, who is that? Like, right now, it's just me in my business. Like,
I've seen that before, and I've helped people with that before. And you can just start with yourself. You can start with yourself and if you make yourself the president, you can be chairman slash president.
okay.
Then that's it. You don't have to. Most of the time, they want you to have a secretary, but it's not always necessary.
Okay.
You can make yourself chairman slash president, and that would be good.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I remember one time I formed a company. Yeah, embarrassed to say it now, but I made myself the president slash chairman, and then I made my middle name and maiden last name the secretary, because in that state they required a secretary. It were both
Oh,
me, but that's how I did it.
that's how you did
And
it.
then later on, when we got a full board, then we had minutes. We had a meeting. We established full minutes. And as the secretary, I then, wrote in that the board of directors was appointing this person or that person to be added as the secretary, take my place as secretary, treasurer, and VP, and all of it. That's how I did it.
Ooh, I'm having some kind of a moment here. I remember telling you I had a dream that we were doing like business stuff together, talking about business, and I feel something in just this conversation.
Oh, praise God! Is it good or bad?
It's good.
Like
I
a
feel
leap,
like I feel
leap in
like
your spirit.
it feel like a leap. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, that's because your subconscious, the mind of God, the divine mind of God in you has already been here. Yeah. Yeah, that's excitement. It's
Oh,
already done. Thank
that
you.
feels good.
Awesome.
Thank you,
Glory.
Lord.
Give him glory. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you, Lord. Woo, that
Thank
felt
you.
good. Thank you, Jesus.
That's good. That's good. That'll work right there. Okay. Okay. So you're looking at the three. See, that's what I'm saying. Some states really require. So you want the board of directors, and then you want the officers, and then the shareholders. So when you get the board of directors, again, you're talking about the chairman, you know, VP, secretary, all of those. Then that board will then in turn appoint CEO.
Okay.
Those are the company officers,
Mm-hmm.
chief executive officer, chief financial officer. They're going to appoint the officers. And then, of course, being that you have elected a group of board of directors, they do not have to have a vested interest. So they don't have to own stock. If they have not contributed to your company to help you start in any way, you don't have to give them. Now, some people you can say, I want to make you vice president of my company, because you've invested so much into the company, and you can give them shares
Okay.
in exchange for the investment that they made into your company, or they may understand how to do a whole lot in your company. So we have helped people form corporations. And so they've given us a vested interest in the company as services in kind, because they knew they were going to need our help perpetually,
Right.
in perpetuity. So
Mm-hmm.
they gave us a small vested interest in the company, so that in exchange for whenever they need help, they can call us. For instance, Wilma can call us now,
Right. That's good.
and
Okay.
has called us. And
Mm-hmm.
I've gone to decide what I was doing and went to the county for her. It just depends on how you want to do that in terms of shareholders. But otherwise, you may not want to issue shares if they're not putting up some type of upfront
Right.
investment, if they're not purchasing them, or if they're not providing some type of financial benefit, such as, again, services in kind,
Okay.
or information that you're going to need help with in the future.
Okay.
That's how you're going to set up yours. Now, do we need to go back over preferred stock versus common stock? Do you remember anything about it?
No.
Let's talk about it. Because if you looked at your list of things that you're going to need to know the shares, the type of shares that you're going to.
Did I write that down? Yeah, I'm sure I did. Yeah, let's go over it.
It's on page 99 in this book that we're in now, and it's on page
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's on page 100 in homeownership
And
and
homeowners, yeah.
planning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's the book that I.
Okay. So when you talk about shares, whether it be common stock or whether it be I'm gonna go whether it be preferred stock, let's talk about common stock. Let me know when you're ready to start taking notes.
I'm ready.
I'm trying to see if I can find it in this book that we're in. But if I don't find the page that is on the book, I'm going to explain it to you, and I want you. Number 7 is what you'll be looking at in that list of stuff: the issuing of stock, allocating shares, and initial shareholders. But you got to know what kind of stock you're going to issue. That's what I'm about to teach you. Difference between the two.
Okay. What kind of stuff? Okay.
Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So when we talk about common stock, firstly, with common stockholders have a vote. They have a vote. So based on the number of shares that they have, will determine the amount of votes that they have in any annual meetings that the corporation may have. Okay. So if you sell someone 100 shares of your 10,000 shares, then that means they can have 100 votes. Nobody's ever going to own as many shares as you do in your own company, but they can have 100 votes as to your decision in a particular vote that you have coming up in your annual meeting. Because when you have an annual meeting, everybody that owns stock gets a notification that you're about to have an annual meeting. They also get a copy of the agenda as to what you're going to discuss. So they can already have a predetermined opinion on what it is that they like to see done in the company that they have a vested interest in. And so they want to, I'm perusing through trying to see if I can see it. It's going to be talking about stock. But anyway, people who own, so that's why the page keeps moving. Apologize for that. People who own, who set up their company with common stock, they're giving their stockholders the opportunity to have a vote. Okay. Number of votes depends on the number of shares that they own. Got that part?
Mm-hmm. Got that part.
All right. Also talking about common stock. Whenever stock is sold, there we go. Bam. You see, I can't tell you what page is on.
I'm looking.
But let's see. I think it's under chapter 5.
I see chapter 5. Mm-hmm.
Okay, another key component for common stock. We talked about having voting rights.
Voting rights.
From a business person, from the company, from the corporation standpoint, we have always set up our stock with common stock as a personal preference, and here's why. Yes, we give the stockholder the benefit of having voting rights, but the biggest benefit to us is that if something should happen, we're not able to, maybe our bottom line for that year, there were no profits there.
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe we had a deficit. We are not obligated to pay the stockholders any dividend because our bottom line couldn't support it. So we're not obligated to pay them any dividends.
Okay.
At all. We don't have to set up an established timing for when we pay the dividends if we set up our company under common stock. Make sense?
Yep.
There's not a certain interval when they're due dividends, nor do you have to pay them dividends. You can just send out the annual report, let them know what your profit and loss was. If you suffered a loss, then that it clearly explains why you're not paying out dividends. Or you can wait and pay out dividends every 60 months, every 5 years, every 48 months, every 72 months, every 3 years, every 2 years. You can decide, and you can put that um, in your package when you're selling them the stock, if you're common stock, letting them know when you decide to do it. But if you get to that term and you're unable to do it, you can send them an annual report, the financial statement of the company. They can see the financial condition of the company and understand why they didn't receive any dividends, or they get dividends, but it's a smaller amount depending on the profitability of the company. Now, if you made a lot of profit, they're going to be looking for a substantial amount of dividends, and rightfully so.
Right. Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Another benefit to having common stock to the owner, a benefit to the owner, is that if for some reason you need to liquidate, for whatever reason, maybe it's a court mandate, then for the stockholder, it can be a risk. But for the company, it's not a risk, because if you need to liquidate and sell the company, then what happens is the stockholders are not paid any dividends until after all of the bills are paid. So after all of the bills are paid, once you've been ordered to liquidate, if you ever get ordered, then that's when dividends will be due, which means that there would have to be some kind of profit there.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's no profit there, you don't have to worry about, don't have to have the stress. That's why a lot of people kill themselves. They commit suicide. So they realize their company, they got all of these dividends that are due to stockholders, and they don't have the provision. Something has happened and the provision is no longer there. That's why sometimes things can happen with corporation. They can be, fraudulent or whatever. And now the FBI, the federal people that are involved with money, they
Mm-hmm.
step in. The FRCA, they step in, and the reason why they step in is to expedite federal regulations over that money, because people have bought stock, they were due stock, and they never got paid any dividends from the stock. So then they step in to regulate it when people are due money. But when you have common stock, that's not going to happen, because they're only due money after all of the debt has been paid. That's why you can find companies like Bears and Stearns. I don't know if you remember Bears and Stearns,
Mm-hmm.
but they went belly up for a while, and so until they got bailed out. But what happened was their stockholders, I mean their owners, were still getting paid, and stockholders weren't getting any money. But their owners were still walking away with $800,000 salaries, while stockholders weren't getting a dime, because they had filed a chapter 11. But they could do that because they had common stock. So their officers could still get paid based on the amount of money that was coming into the company. But
Mm-hmm.
stockholders couldn't get anything because their bottom line didn't have a profit when it came to bottom line. That's because their stockholders' equity or their salaries, both the same, were factored in to the company's budget. Make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
after the budget and everything that was supposed to be paid, there was nothing left for stockholders. People were hot as a firecracker. They were mad, because how are y'all walking away with this kind of money, and yet the individuals, the people, the public,
Yeah.
they're not getting anything. Yeah, that was a big deal. It happened with Bank of America recently too. That was when President Obama was in office, and he went at it over those. But he went at it, but it still stayed like it was, because they had the kind of stock that
They
they
had the
had.
kind of stock that
They
they
took
had.
them to court, but they weren't required to pay it, because they set up with common stock. Our companies are set up with common
It's
stock.
kind of stock. Okay.
Um, and the last reason, number three, because of the potential capital gains. That's really important. So if the stock price increases, then there's a capital gain there, and it's all based on the market perception. So you could have not made a dime, but market perception for your type of company, for instance, market perception for abstracting title insurance firms right now is up. So it makes the company marketable, even if they hadn't done one closing. It still makes them marketable enough so that they could sell shares of stock to people because of the market perception, which also drives up the price. And now people are holding the stock, waiting on something to happen. Those funds can be used to benefit the company to get it through a position where it can now make money. With common stock, there's no requirement for payment of dividends until you get in a position where you can actually pay them dividends. So common stock offers an opportunity for a substantial appreciation in the value of the stock over time, because common stock is based on the marketable perception of the stock. If in that industry right now is profitable, then the perception of the value of your stock goes up. Does that make sense?
It
That's
does.
what common stock.
Common stocks, and you have
Mhm.
to make sure you start off with this. You can't change it in the middle or after it's done.
Well, if you start with you can't change it if it's common stock, but
Okay,
if it's preferred stock, you can change it.
good
All right.
information.
Yeah. If it's preferred, if you start out with preferred stock, you can change it. You can
Okay.
transfer it and convert it to common stock. But if you start out with common stock, you can't convert it to preferred stock.
Probably
So
wouldn't want.
let's go to some of the characteristics of preferred stock. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So first of all, with preferred stock, there's no voting rights. They don't get voting rights with preferred stock. So
Okay.
they own a portion of the company. They have assets that are available to them, and they get dividends based on certain intervals of distribution, but they just don't have voting rights. Sometimes they can be given limited voting rights, but it depends on how much of an investment they make. It has to be substantial.
Okay.
So they have less influence over the direction of the company and its decision because they don't have voting rights, whereas common stockholders or shareholders, they have voting rights.
Okay.
So also when you're dealing with dividend, people who own preferred stock, they're going to receive fixed dividends. So when they buy that stock, you're going to have written on there the amount of the dividends that they're going to receive, whether it's 5%, 1% of the net profit, whatever it is, it's going to be that amount, and it's going to be paid out in particular intervals. It may be annual, annual dividends, 1% annual dividends of the net company's net profits.
Mm-hmm.
So you just said it's going to be 1%. It's going to be received annually, and it's going to be of the company's net profits. That's all going to be on the stock certificate that's used to issue them the shares.
Okay.
Okay, so preferred stockholders are preferred. They get regular dividend payments at specific time for a specific percentage. So that's what makes it attractive to investors, because they know they're going to get a certain stream of income coming in over a period of time. They know exactly what the percentage is going to be. They may not know the dollar amount, but they know the percentage. And sometimes people will set it up so that they receive a dollar amount rather than giving them a rate of dividends, a percentage. They give them a dollar amount that they're going to pay them at a set time over a certain period of time. Okay. Also, people would prefer, if you own preferred stock, then you get priority in liquidation. So if some reason that the company assets have to be liquidated, people with preferred stock get paid first, and then the debts get paid. So if the company files bankruptcy or has some kind of financial challenges, then people with preferred stock get greater protection because they're gonna get paid. If it's any money anywhere, it's gonna be split up between the preferred shareholder.
Okay.
And lastly, another benefit with preferred stock is that, so you can see all the benefits are set up for the preferred stockholders, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily for the company, but for
Okay.
the preferred stockholders. The only benefit to one of the greatest benefits to the company is that it's attractive and it will cause people to want to invest
Mm-hmm.
because they don't get a vote, but they see that they have
Money's coming in.
a stream of revenue coming in. Now, some people understand the benefit of being an investor and having a vote, and
Mm-hmm.
they want to go with having that vote because not only do they have shares in the company, but the fact that they have a voting right gives their shares more equity,
That's good.
more value because they have voting right.
Okay.
Okay, preferred stock can be converted. Remember, I mentioned that to you earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, you can convert it. So some preferred stock you can convert it into common stock. And so that means that you decide that you no longer want preferred stock benefits, but you want the common stock benefits because you want to vote,
Mm-hmm.
then you can pay the difference between the capital appreciation and of preferred stock, because common stock, remember, increases in value at a higher rate, a faster rate, a more accelerated rate than preferred stock. So you can pay the difference between the common stock rate on the market and the preferred stock, and then you can buy up into common stock. You can transfer your stock into common.
Okay.
It's called a callable stock, when you can call it and convert it, or you can call it and redeem everything that's owed to you. It's got callability. You can call it in and redeem everything that's owed to you, and that means that you're giving up the rest of your stock. You're actually converting it back to the company once you redeem it. Call it in. They pay you what the value is at that time, market value, and that's it. You no longer have stock in that product, in that company, because you've redeemed it. So you can convert it, or you can call it. You can redeem it, redeem everything that's due to you, and then it reverts back to the company. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay, let's look at some key points. So if you could, can you see the screen so you can see the?
Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you go through some of the identification or characteristics of common stock here, 1 through 4.
Common stock. We have here ownership and voting rights. Um, represent equity ownership in a company. Then I think this is 3.3. Shareholders have voting rights, typically one vote per share. And then we have influence of corporate decisions, electing the board of directors, mergers, and acquisitions. And then the dividends, we have the dividends are not guaranteed, paid at the discretion of the company board of directors. So if there's if the company has a hard time or something happens, they wouldn't get paid first. The bills, the debt will be paid off first. And if anything left, it will go to the shareholders, is what I learned here.
Yes.
Vary based on company profitability and financial health, and can be higher during profitable periods and reduced or suspended in lean times, which is a good thing there. Potentials for capital gains, um, potential for significant capital gains if the company's stock price increases, and the value is tied to company performance and market perceptions.
Excellent. So then when you look at a preferred stock, as far as ownership and voting rights, we know that preferred stock holders, they don't have a voting right, or they got limited voting rights.
Right.
So they don't have any influence on the corporation's decisions in their annual meetings. Also, in terms of dividends, now one of the benefits is that they receive fixed dividends that are paid out before common stock dividends. They have a preferential position in terms of receiving their dividend payouts, regardless of what's happening with the company, even if they've had to liquidate. So the dividend rate is set, and it's the issuance is always consistent because they have a set time. So it gives them predictable, stable stream of income that they have, non-performance income. Also, they have priority, again, as I mentioned before, in liquidation. If the stock has to be sold, then preferred stockholders get paid first. When the assets are liquidated, they get paid first. Whereas with common stock, they don't get paid until after the creditors have been paid. It offers a greater protection for financial challenges.
Right, and the
Stockholders.
callable,
Right.
so that you
Yeah.
can, or you can convert it if you need to, if you would like to. So that's a good thing about it as well.
Yes. So preferred stockholders have the greater benefit. Common stockholders are benefited through their voting right, and through the marketability of the shares in having a greater influence and increasing at a higher, more accelerated rate than preferred stock.
Okay.
So it's better for the company. Common stock is better for the company than preferred stock. So I think that's so that you understand that. That was really important to me. Another thing I want you to understand is whether, how many. So I put $7,000 in common stock because one of our companies, and I'm supposed to send you an example of those articles. I got to email it to you. One of the companies that we have 7,000 shares of common stock. That's what we started with because we knew that we needed to have enough to spend throughout the decades, the years. You may decide to do 30,000. You decide to do 100,000 because the greater number of shares you have, of course, the more accountability you have when it comes to your annual reporting. The more stock equity you have to be in charge of when it comes to the financial statement.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, we chose 7,000 because over the years, it wouldn't look out of proportion. I wasn't going to actively be trying to sell shares of stock unless I knew I needed to raise money.
Right.
So if I had done 30,000 and then we only had the stock that was just us and people that we sold stock to over the years and it hadn't been a substantial amount, that's going to be out of proportion. Then it looks like you got all this stock and nobody wants to buy it. So it just depends on how actively you know that you intend to, over the next 10, 20, 30 years, 50, 60 years, sell. Because, when it's perpetual, it's in perpetuity. So it's perpetual. So the company doesn't close unless you dissolve it. You know what I mean? When you're dealing with a corporation.
Right.
So
Yeah.
So, even if it survives you, you have to write up some type of documentation that can be recorded to show what's happening with your company stock. Because somebody can pick it up after you've passed if you leave it to them. But if you don't, then it becomes a ward of the state. And then your people, whoever decides to become an executive over your will, can get, ownership to it. So the stock can continue in perpetuity.
Okay.
That makes sense. So that's why you want to make sure that you're issuing it in balance and that you have something in writing in place for it. Your bylaws can do it. So even if you don't have a will, if you put it in the bylaws, it's automatically. You can put something in the bylaws that says that if anything should happen to you, it passes to this person, or it passes to that person, or it passes to the next living relative. And instead of putting names in the next living relatives, on whatever family
Right.
side.
Nice.
Yeah, put that in your bylaws. And even if you die and you don't have a will, then whether you die testate or intestate, doesn't matter because you've put it in your bylaws, so they know exactly what to do with it. Or you might decide that your stock is going to go to some charity,
Mm-hmm.
and they can take it and market it and sell it and take money from it and benefit from it. Or they can decide to operate it, and now they've got constant stream of revenue coming. It's all kind of ways to do it. But if you put it in the bylaws, then no matter what happens with that will is in the corporate bylaw.
That's good.
So when you're looking at whether or not you want to issue um, a par rate for your stock, what that means, well, once you understand common stock represents ownership in the corporation and its entities, shareholders and their voting rights and their dividends. And shareholders of common stock participate in the company's success through capital gains, which we talked about, dividends, but they also can share in the company's risk. And that's when you get down to it and everything has to be sold. Then it may be so many debts that they participate in the risk to the point that they couldn't get any money. When you talk about issuing a par rate, that kind of sets up an advantage for your stockholders because even if they're common stock, if you set up a par rate, then no matter what happens with the stock, even if you have to liquidate, there is a bottom line rate that they get per share. Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Now we set ours up at no par value, and back then people weren't doing that. You had to have a par value. So when we did the first company, the attorney said no par, no par. because I don't want to have to be responsible for paying anybody a bottom line amount if anything should happen. So if you issue a no par value stock, that means that no matter what happens with it, you have not guaranteed to pay them any amount. Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So no matter what happens, if the stock rate plummets, if you have a no par value, it can't plummet below that rate because you got to pay that particular rate.
Okay.
So one of the advantages is it allows the corporation to issue shares at any price determined by the market conditions without being constrained to a nominal value. Another advantage is without a par value, the corporation is not obligated to the shareholders for the difference between the issuance price and the par value, which, if it goes up, you're not obligated to them. And it reduces any kind of potential legal financial liability. Also, if you don't issue a par rate in stock value, it simplifies the accounting because now you don't have to keep up with the stock holders' equity for the bottom line nominal value of the par rate. So you don't have to put that in your financial statement. It doesn't have to be a part of the accounting system. So it kind of simplifies your accounting procedure.
Okay.
Make sense?
Makes sense.
All right. So I think we have saturated this, but now what kind of questions do you have?
Questions. I had one just on mine about, do I need to have my what is it? Do I need to be certified for loan notary before I go through the process of going online to get the C corporation and filling out all the things and submitting it first? Or can I do that like now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't have to, because that is your goal.
Mm-hmm.
It is your goal. So, you haven't started it yet, but you intend to. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Just making sure I didn't have to put a pause on all of the things, getting everything together, and then wait until I get the certification of certain things, or when I get the real estate license to move forward with the business ventures.
Right. No, you can go ahead and start, because that way you can go ahead and start doing closings.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. And then I think I
wanted to, pause with the talk. Anything else before I start up again?
That's it.
Well, it's almost time for us to end. I don't know.
Yeah, I know it is really. It's like a couple minutes. I'm just putting sticky notes in my book.
Okay.
To go back and review some of the things and make some more notes on the things that I just learned today, so I can retain the information. Yeah.
And see, sometimes when it's just going, you can't even make a note because trying to hear. I know that feeling, so I'll pause sometimes. Just
Yeah, I'm just sitting here putting my sticky notes in here. The things. All right. I need to know. Yep, I think I have everything. Yeah, I learned a lot today.
Oh, thank God. That's
Yeah.
what I need to hear.
Yes, I learned a lot today. Like it's very exciting, honestly. Like it's giving me this drive and insight. Like you go get this done. Like I want to. Once we get off, I want to go and write up my bylaws and everything, and then send them to you so you can look over them because I'm super excited. And
That's what I want.
I have like an investor, which is a close friend of mine who loves me dearly. He's always just pouring into me. So I'm like, yeah, is he an investor that just hasn't been deemed as an investor? So like
Yeah,
he's helping me in a lot of other ways and stuff, and
he
he's
is an
supportive.
investor,
So
services
he's
and
invested.
kind.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I should, talk to him about helping me with some of the things because he even sent me when I was talking about doing the things I need to do. He was like, oh, let me send you my business's bylaw. So I mean, you can just kind of look at it and take a look and see,
Yeah.
you're gonna have to reword it or whatever, put your things in it. But here's a guideline for you if you need. So
Yes.
yeah,
So yes, that's definitely that's what I'm talking about. People that pour into you services and kind. That in other words, certain things you probably wouldn't have been able to get done had it not been for their assistance. That
right.
is definitely invested because they're so into so when we get back together again, then I guess we'll have to go over chapter 3 because we pretty much saturated yeah, we'll be going over chapter. No, we're gonna have to go back to chapter 2. Let me show you why.
Okay.
Because we need to look at these business models.
Yes.
See here. So we're gonna talk
Yeah.
about, and you're gonna have to help me remember this, Rachel.
Oh, I'll remind you.
Oh,
Yeah. Yeah. I come out.
that's in chapter 2. I don't know what page it's on because see, I can't see the page
Is
numbers in
it
here.
two? Yep, you're right. It's hold on, what chapter? It's the page number here is page 45.
Page 45.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Page 45.
All right.
And this is, yep.
So that will be next will be the 23rd, right?
Will be the 23rd. Yes, yes, ma'am. Put a sticky note.
Page 45.
Page 45 is what we'll go over.
Okay.
Put a sticky note here.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. If you don't have any further, well, because I really want you to get that business model. That's going to even help you, especially since you're writing up your bylaws and such. It would give you more information as to which business model is going to work for you. What I like about that, when you're choosing a business model specifically for what you're going to be setting up, you can always change it. That's not something that you put in your articles.
Okay.
It can help you write your business plan, but you don't put it in your articles. So you can always change it if things are not flowing um, conveniently according to that business.
Okay. Nice.
Right. Listen, I really appreciate you open, like you said, that you're really getting something from it. That excites me. Like you're excited. See, that excites me to now get on these other 2 books and, and get the other parts to the series out. Yeah, that part.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. And blessings.
Blessings.